And here we are. We got me on lead guitar, Cliff on drums, and Elaine on keyboards.
I'm on
And
the
that
bass.
yeah, I know that. Look, no, that's actually technically her monitor in front of her.
I put my camera on a stand because every time I have it on the monitor, it gets knocked askew and whatnot. So I thought putting it on the stand would make it more stable. But everybody seems to have a problem with it being on the stand, at least at this direction. I'll see what I can do.
No, I don't have a problem with it. I just know what it looks like. It looks like you're playing piano.
Fine, okay? I'm an Elton John impersonator. I'm a rockin' man.
Elton John, not Stevie Wonder.
No,
No
Stevie Wonder
New
didn't
Year's
play.
Day.
Stevie Wonder, I'm okay. I'm thinking little Stevie Wonder because when he was very young, he played the harmonica.
Right.
If you ever listen to Fingertips, he's playing
Yeah,
harmonica. He's
way
not
back
playing
then.
keyboards. And then, of course, once he learned, he was playing the piano, and then he was one of the first people to get a Moog.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, um, the book Close Encounters of the Time, the book actually says the Moog they used to do their communication thing with the aliens, they had to borrow from Stevie Wonder because
Wow.
he was the only person available with a Moog. He actually had to borrow Stevie. In the book, they wrote that the guy wrote that they actually had to borrow Stevie Wonder's Moog.
Missy Lane,
Yes, Mr. Clint.
before we get started,
Okay.
got a small thing I need to discuss with you.
Oh shoot, what did I do?
Well, a few weeks ago, you made a suggestion of a film on Netflix that I may want to show my little girls.
Okay.
Do you happen to remember what this was?
A film and not a series.
Yes, on Netflix.
Okay. Oh, K-pop Demon Hunters?
Yes, K-pop Demon Hunters.
Did they not like it?
Well, the entire family liked it.
Okay, so what
The
did I do
first
wrong?
the first 37 times it was played in my house.
37 times. 37 times. Can we watch something else, please? No, we're gonna watch K-pop.
Hold on.
A day has not gone by. I haven't had to see that movie or hear at least one of the songs from it.
I told Cliff that his girls might like to watch K-pop Demon Hunters. The whole family liked it, except they've watched it 37 times so far.
And counting.
Poor Courtney. She's like double over laughing.
Well,
I can't get away from this now.
Sorry, I thought it would be something you guys could enjoy as a family. It was kind of cute, but it also, it wasn't really scary or too sexually too overly sexy, and it had a message. And it was hopeful through the darkness. I thought it would be great for your girls. I am sorry. I never intended it to become the horror story of your life.
I wake up hearing those songs.
Well, I got something to cleanse your palate here.
Yes, you do. But no, I just wanted to let you know. Thanks so much.
Sorry, I am so sorry. I was trying to do a good thing.
And like most good things, it turns bad after a while.
It's like when I said you could have a chocolate bar, I didn't mean that you ate the whole box of 52 double size.
God, and if I don't see it or listen to the songs, I have to hear fan theories about it.
Oh, it's like that movie got a hold on your family. Oh boy, that's not good.
Goo goo gaga.
And then I heard they're going to make a sequel to it, and I almost had a stroke.
No,
Well, they didn't think it was. Netflix put a little money behind it because it looked beautiful, but they didn't think it was going to be this. They figured they'd break even regarding the views. They didn't think it was going to be this huge phenomenon, and they pulled the Star Wars. I mean, this was like Star Wars in the beginning. Fox just figured, if we're lucky, we'll break even. And we figure we'll make so little money on this thing that we'll just give Lucas his rights back. And then,
well, Netflix has made their money back on My House alone, so they're good to go.
I on the one hand, I'm really tickled because you actually took my suggestion, but. Feeling bad. I walk off camera.
Now, since the lane is broken, we're going to go back to the topic of the evening here. Yes, the topic of the evening is like Dom Toretto, nothing beats family, and nothing beats this one family that we're going to talk about this week here. And that is old school, nothing like it, the Herculoids. Now, we're about to educate you on the Herculoids first here, but before we even do that, we're going to help Cliff. We're going to really help him.
I'm sorry, bad person.
We're going to really help him. We're about to watch a cleanse his palate and watch an episode of the Herculoids. Now, mind you, this one is over 2 hours, but we're only watching one episode.
Somewhere out in space live the Herculoids. Zod, the laser ray dragon. Ego, the giant rocky. Thundro, the tremendous. Bloof and Bleak, the formless fearless wonders. With Xandor, their leader.
I'm Mr. Rubberband.
And his wife, Para, and son, Dorno. They team up to protect their planet from sinister invaders. All strong, all brave, all heroes. They're the Herculoids.
Time for a space mystery with the Herculoids.
The stars are really shining tonight, aren't they? No, Igu. They're too far away for you to touch. And too far away for you to fly to, Zoc. But I know how you feel. I'd give anything if I could reach. Hey, let's go find out where it's landing.
No need to hide from me. Come where I can see you better.
No.
Who are you? Where are you from?
I am a friend, and I come from there. That twinkling blue planet. A paradise world filled with great wonders, where every wish can be made to come true. If you and your friends would like to see my world, I can take you there right now, if you like.
It sounds wonderful, but what do you think?
Come now, and we will take off immediately for the paradise.
It's the free taco van. It's the free taco van.
And nobody taught him he had to hold out till they offered candy.
So,
Yep.
he should be offering candy.
He lied to us. There is no paradise planet.
How can Dorno be so certain? Stay tuned and find out. And now the answer to today's space mystery.
See, Father, I knew the alien was lying when he said he came from that blue planet. Because planets don't twinkle. Only stars do.
You're right. You were all to be my captives.
There. That should hold them until the Interspace Police arrive.
Looks like they were already on his trail, Father.
We now return to our program.
Okay, for a real episode of the Herculoids and not no side thing.
Oh, that's right.
There. The detector has picked up that lost magnolite.
Looks like it's heading right for Quasar.
Oh, this is the crossover. This is the crossover with Space Ghost.
Disaster.
Life is
The Space Ghost crossover. Yeah.
I love how they all run around half naked, even though they're supposed to be technologically sophisticated.
This was a much later episode than the earlier ones because they have way
Yeah.
more animation than the originals.
Yeah.
Look, Father.
You are a better fisherman than I, Dorno.
Hey, Father, my fish. What in the world? Mother, did you see what happened to my fish?
Did you see what happened to our dinner?
That's Igu, and he sounds like he's in trouble.
Herculoids! Herculoids!
He's entertaining.
What's wrong with Igu?
I do not know.
He's trapped in
Attacked by
something.
moms.
Help, Eagle!
He's gonna run into nothingness.
Come on, baby, get him. Come on.
Like I said, he's gonna run into nothingness.
It is some kind of invisible shield.
But who? But why?
We will find answers later, Dorno. Now we must free Eagle. Zuck, Tundro, help me destroy the shield.
We dress like Thundar the Barbarian, but we're as technologically sophisticated as Space Ghost.
It's working, Father.
What is Xandor shooting with his slingshot that could be
Anything is
that
like-
powerful to destroy the invisible shield?
It's
If
a
you look real
serious-
close, it's whatever comes out of Tundro's horn because it's the same shape and color and everything.
Or it comes out the other side of Tundra.
Exactly.
Glad you're safe.
Oh, look, it's so good. He's just a big baby.
What is it, Father?
These footprints were made by the Zelos, the flying
This is
monkey men.
definitely a later
Every street in the
Herculoids,
valley of
though.
the Great Forest since we made the treaty with them.
Yes, Tara, and that is what disturbs me.
Do you think the Zelos have anything to do with what happened to Igu, Father?
I do not know, Dorno, but we must find out.
You're gonna say
Yeah. It is a later one because Xandar doesn't look so much like
There,
Ray
Valley of the
Gannon
Great
and the kid doesn't look like Johnny Quest.
All of the Zelos.
Right.
Come, we must speak with the king.
everybody else gets to wear clothes
My
with them.
people have not broken our treaty.
But these were Zelo footprints, King Zell.
Wait. I said none of my people, but perhaps my son Izo.
Izo, where is he?
He is no longer among us. When we made the treaty, Izo wished to continue the war. He has a terrible hatred for humans. To stop the fighting,
Hey,
my
Don.
son and his followers
Hey,
were
Don.
exiled.
And where are they, your majesty?
The Valley of the Lost Lake.
Then that is where we must go. There it is, the Valley of the Lost Lake.
What is it, Father?
An invisible wall, like the cage that held Igu.
Sandor, look! Something's got hold of Sock!
More invisible forces.
He's gone! Sock's gone!
We will find him, Dorno. That I promise you.
They speak very primitively.
And almost similar to Space Ghost.
Lake is just ahead.
No, Space Ghost language is a bit more sophisticated. Come on.
Well,
At least the twins
now
and the
where'd
monkey.
it go? What the? How strange. It's gotta be.
Dorno, where'd Lupin Glee? They disappeared.
That's not all that's disappeared. I've lost an arm.
Dorno, what happened?
Don't worry, it's okay. I don't know. I stuck it in the water and... It's Tundra.
I tried to make pee-pee in the water. It went weird
The
on me.
answer to the mystery lies within the lake.
Sandor, there! It's some kind of glow. It's time we do some fishing.
We'll need trailing vines and rushes to weave a net.
We've caught something, Father.
Diego, help us!
Now the net's invisible, like my arm.
Good, Diego. Now I think we have found the answer.
And here's Space Ghost.
You two, Flip and I will pick up that magnolite.
What is it, Father?
It's magnolite, Dorno.
Space Ghost.
We've been trailing this piece of magnolite for 2 days.
But what is Magnolite, Space Ghost?
Debris from an explosion inside a black hole. Its radium contents will make anything invisible.
I know. Look at my arm.
Don't worry, Dorno. Your arm will return when we return the magnolite to outer space, which is right now. Sandor, would you mind? My pleasure, Space Ghost. Farewell, Herculoids.
Father, look. My arm is coming
Space
back.
Ghost forget his girdle and couldn't bend over to pick it up.
And Tundra!
Father, over there.
Free yourself, son.
Like he couldn't have done that when he was invisible.
Diego, we'll teach them a lesson. Take them back to their king.
You're right. It is the same consistency. We're going to put you in this net.
King Zell, your son discovered how the waters of Lost Lake would make anything it touched invisible because of the magnolite. He thought if he could not be seen, he could make whatever trouble he wanted for us.
Thank you for bringing him back, Xandor. I promise he will not trouble you again.
Good. Now we must return to the jungle. Farewell.
We are at peace, nearly naked humans.
Life returns to normal on Quasar.
We now return to our program.
And that's pretty much it. That's our primer into the Herculoids, one of the greatest families in cartoon history that if I remember correctly, they have never been defeated.
Ah, okay. I like the Groovy Ghoulies, but I'm weird that way.
The Groovy Ghoulies. You talking about
Sabrina and the Groovy Ghoulies.
who?
Sabrina and the Groovy Ghoulies.
Oh, Sabrina. Okay. The teenage. Yeah, I know. That's like the group. And now it comes back to me. But that's Archie's. Not
Still
Hanna
a
Barbera.
cartoon.
Huh?
It's still a cartoon.
I know it's still a cartoon. We haven't got to like the Archies as of yet.
Okay. Yes, they were a fun family, but I always considered Space Ghost and the kids to be. I used to tell myself that Space Ghost was their uncle. You know, I had this whole story made up that Space Ghost's sister and their husband were their parents, but an unfortunate space accident happened and they were killed. And it was up to Space Ghost to raise his niece and nephew and their little monkey on his own in memory of his sister and her husband.
Sounds like
Because
somebody.
otherwise, he's a creepy dude running around with a couple of children.
Sounds like somebody need to read the latest incarnation of the Space Ghost comic book. It's not exactly that, but it's similar.
Well, I never read the comic because they didn't. I don't think they had comics out when I was a kid. But when I was a kid, that's how I
actually they did. They did, but they didn't. They didn't have it in the form that Dynamite doing it now, and the story that Dynamite is running with Space Ghost.
Okay.
It's not what you're saying, but it's similar enough where you'd be pleased.
Well, that was the story I made up in my head for why this grown man would be running around with a couple of preteens, and a monkey. Let's not forget the monkey.
If Clyde was here, he would educate you on what he's been reading with Space Ghost.
I shall reach out.
It's similar to what you have in your mind, but it's not exactly that.
I'll reach out to him via the chat so he can update me.
I think he would approve here. But the whole thing about the Herculoids is like, for people who have this awesome allies with these creatures in this jungle, and many aliens that tries to come in to invade their territory, I just don't see how in some cases they survive.
There's so much about it that's kind of like, not George of the Jungle, because that's a little too slapdash, but it's like if Tarzan lived out on a planet somewhere, and with Jane and Boy, and they made friends with various other creatures, but yes, Jane, we go, we're under attack. Jane, we must go find Boy. Oh.
Well, here's the thing. Xandor would not be a Tarzan. It's almost like Xandor is like a human from the future that's just hiding out.
But it's just a whole, I guess,
he understands technology. That's the whole problem with all of this.
They're running around half naked. They have tech, and you have all these other technological races around them. You have space police, you have space ghosts, and they know all these different creatures and stuff. But it's like, of all the creatures that can somebody get you some clothes? I'm just, they're running around in the space jungle half naked. And as a kid, for some reason, I just didn't think of it. It was just, ooh, it's the thing, it's the Herculoids, yay! Because I like the little guy I like the dragon and the guy with the horn thingy. I used to want my own of those because it's like,
I always like Gloop and Gleep because they could change just about into anything. Mm-hmm. Literally anything.
I always had bad pictures of my mom flushing Gloop and Gleep down the toilet. For some reason, I don't know. I could just picture my mom flushing Gloop and Gleep down the toilet, and that broke my heart. It'd be harder for her to get rid of the dragon and the other guy.
The only other thing that bothered me about the Herculoids is Dorno always calling his father Xandor.
We called the mom Tara too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he doesn't call them mom and dad. He calls them by their names, and it's like, but you're a family unit, It's and it's like, okay, if they were uncle and aunt, it would be uncle something, right, or whatever. So it's really it's a weird family dynamic.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I may have this just mixed up in my brain, but the Tara, the mom, is like He-Man's mom, right? She came from Earth originally and got stranded on this planet with Space Tarzan.
I think you got. I don't think that's 100% accurate, but it's kind of sort of like that.
Yeah, I can't.
I think it's the other way around. Xandor landed there, and she happened to be in the jungle.
Oh, okay.
He met her, and then they were like, and next thing you know, they had a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Because, that's how things happen in the cartoons.
Now, one of the things that, I try not to compare and contrast, but we're going to do this show a little bit later. We still got to compare this to, since one is set in space and the other one's set on a alternate Earth. We still got to compare this to Dino Boy and Ugg.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other one that's kind of like it blows your mind when you really think about the setting of Dino Boy.
Okay.
It's like, his parents died. It's like he was on a vacation with his parents, and something happened to their plane. They crashed land in this land that was time forgotten.
Yeah, there's always some unknown continent that you only find if you crash land out in the middle of the Pacific or somewhere.
And it's so happened and weird that Ugg saw the plane crashed. He saved I forgot what Dino Boy's real name was. He saved Dino Boy first, and then tried to go back for the mom before everything went to heck in a handbasket, because it was Dino Boy's mom that says, "Watch after him." Because it's like Ugg had no bearing. He just like, oh, this is weird. People in danger. I guess I'll be nice. Grabbed the boy, pulled him to safety. We're about to grab the mom. Mom couldn't escape. Mom was like, protect the boy.
Save my boy. Save my boy.
And it's like, you're in prehistoric land and you tapping literally a prehistoric caveman watch over a modern boy who has some type of intelligence.
He understood you. Somehow he knew Americanized English.
Enough of it.
For a land of time forgot, somehow he completely understood Americanized English.
He understood airplane. First and foremost. For
In my young brain,
the time that land forgot, Ugg probably has seen some things.
In my young brain, I didn't put it as a time land forgot. I put it as he landed like in Scartaris or the Savage Land.
Oh, okay.
So that's the way my brain interpreted it.
I interpreted it as land of the lost when they crash landed. It was land. It was like literally land of the lost. It's like in the middle of nowhere they crash land. It was like, oh, we crash landed in the land of the lost.
Where dinosaurs still exist.
Mm-hmm. And it's just weird. Dinosaurs exist, but there's poachers and all this other stuff that's going on. So I'm like, how is this a land that time forgot, but yet you got all these modern day characters coming in
who know how to get in, they know how to get out, and they know what they're looking for.
Yeah,
and they just leave this minor there.
We'll talk more about Dino Boy in a later episode, because we got to talk about some of the conspiracy theories about Ugg.
Okay. Are we going to discuss the conspiracy theories now, or
no?
Oh, okay.
When we actually watch Dino Boy and Ugg.
Okay. Well,
because it deals with, like I said, it deals with the mother. It deals with his mother.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I never got that deep in it. Mm-hmm. There were, I think at that time, there were other things going on, and I was...
It was one of those shows that came on very rarely, like Mike Tor came on very rarely. Dino Boy came on very rarely. What was Frankenstein Jr. came on very rarely.
Thundar the Barbarian.
Huh?
Thundar I don't know why Thundar.
Thundar was NBC. That was that was prime time Saturday morning cartoon watching. Yeah. Everybody knows about Thundar, but not a lot of people know about Goldar and the Golden Lance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, see, I don't know.
Thundar came on right before Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends and the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that.
I'm from
But-
back in Spider-Man in the 60s when he had that cool jazz soundtrack. So
I like that Spider-Man too.
yeah, I love that soundtrack.
Where he's up
Outside
here
of
knitting
Thundar,
by good old Betty Bryant.
but yeah, now outside of Thundar, out of all the Hanna-Barberas, I had the most experience with Herculoids and Space Ghost.
Okay.
Because
Yeah,
they
I'm
just always
more
seem to be.
Space Ghost Birdman.
Yeah, Birdman wasn't on that much on stuff I watched. It was like there was always a Johnny Quest on, and then there was a rotating cast of like whatever the extra cartoon at the end of Johnny Quest was going to be, and then Herculoids and Space Ghost. And then I remember it because at first no one believed, people didn't know what I was talking about, but then they had Space Stars where they were all on together,
Right.
and I remember that one.
There are a lot I
But-
didn't get to watch because I also had a younger sister. We had one TV and 3 people. And so there were times where if my sister got up first, she got to decide what the viewing was, and it didn't change until noon because, American Bandstand. And then at 2:00, there was Soul Train. And my mother didn't miss either of those. So, and in between that time was when I tried to get most of my housework done. But sometimes in the morning when I wanted to watch cartoons, I ended up having to get work done.
It's hard to imagine you watching American Bandstand before whatchamacallit, before the revamp of the theme.
Oh, with well, I was born in 61.
Right, but
So,
the bandstand boogie didn't come out until 76 or 75.
No, Bandstand was
No. I talk about when they changed it. When the theme.
What's his name changed, got up and Mandy dude got up and
Barry Manilow.
Barry Manilow got up and he rewrote the theme for him. It was the same music, but he put words to it because they had always went da 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 da. But he then decided, they had I remember the show, he came on and it's like, I have a present for you. And then he did the song and everybody's like, wow. Because we were very easily amused back then. For us chewing
but that's when I
right.
started watching Bandstand, was about 76, 77. So when that happened, I was like, well, what was it before? And then when I go back and watch documentaries, it was called Bandstand Boogie, but it was more kind of like an old record that they used to have like on a crank box that they would play back in like the 60s and everything. It had no music. It was a throwback to the big band era.
And then Dick, I think when they added the host, he then started getting it more into rock and roll. And then Dick Clark started bringing it more into the modern day music and stuff. And because it was if I remember correctly, American Bandstand was one of those regional dance shows. There were a few regional dance shows.
It started out regional.
In the 60s, there was one in California. There were a couple in the East Coast. There was one in California. We did have one here in the Midwest, but once Bandstand started taking off on ABC, a lot of those shows just sort of went the way of the caveman.
Yeah, ABC took the one in Philadelphia, which was Dick Clark's.
Yeah, they took Dick Clark in Philadelphia. I forgot who had LA. But yeah, it just sort of, they kind of just said, okay, let's consolidate this. We'll make it one show. We'll do it nationwide. And then they put out calls for dancers, and then they found different dancers that way.
It's kind of like how I believe it's Hairspray. The
Hairspray is based
on something similar to American Bandstand,
it's
and being the dancers on
pre-Bandstand.
American Bandstand.
It's pre-American Bandstand. It's more when the different bandstands were regional shows for local TV stations. And it's basically the show that is in their area that it's going on with. But it was a time, Bandstand was they were also, I think what helped their popularity, they were one of the first dance shows to allow kids a different color on there. Because at first, all the different dance shows, they were white.
Mm-hmm.
And then
again, television back then was pretty much predominantly that way anyway.
Yeah. But I think Clark and them was like, well, we can let some black kids on here. And it's not, they're not gonna knife the white kids. They just want to dance. And I think his was the first show that you actually saw in a couple of areas where some of the white kids danced with some of the black kids.
That is true.
That was the big that was the big controversy back then. Oh my God, there's the white girl dancing with her. They didn't mind so much so long as if the guy was white and the girl was black, but if the black guy was dancing with a white girl, hundreds of letters would file in, and ABC was like, the world is changing, whether you like it or not, and
it wasn't just that. And I believe Dick Clark said it best. It's like, we're getting these bigger acts from back then, such as as you brought out in a side conversation that we had before the show, Little Stevie Wonder and and James Brown, and everything was coming to Bandstand. And they're up there, was like, if we're going to have them, we might as well have people who typically dance to them anyway.
Yeah, why
it was a bridging of gaps at that point. Yeah. So it made sense. But then again, it also made me think about some of the fan fiction that came up with Black Dynamite between Dick Clark and Don Cornelius back in the 70s.
I didn't read any of that.
That stuff is hilarious. That stuff is hilarious because they were up there. It's like, I did not know. It's like the show made it seem like it was a rivalry back then between Soul Train and American Bandstand back in the late 70s.
Well, it's funny because here in Chicago, they were never on. They were never on the same station. They were never on at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
American Bandstand owned 12 o'clock on Saturday. That was their spot, and WGN played Soul Train, and they were depending on where you were in the country, because here they were 2 o'clock for a long time. I think for a while they came on right after Bandstand at one point. Mm-hmm. It's like Bandstand would go off at 1 o'clock, and then boom, there was Soul Train. But I know some things did happen, people were it wasn't that they were at odds with each other, but there were. I know there
was something about the acts. They were fighting over acts.
They were fighting over acts, but there were also discussions about, you only have, why aren't there any whites on? For a while, they didn't have any white kids on Soul Train, and I guess WGN took some flack for that. Some of the stations and stuff started taking flack. And Cornelius was like, well, these are soul acts. How many white kids are dancing to this type of music? And I'm making this show for Black people so that we feel more represented. But then I guess they got enough where they started slowly integrating. My favorite non-Black dancer was this little Filipina girl. She had long, straight black hair. And whenever she danced, she would flip that hair. She dancing, flipping that hair. She never lost a moment to Look at that hair. She had almost as much hair as she was tall. And she was a little bit like Filipino, but she could dance. That was the thing. He made it where if you were going to get on, because not all the kids on Bandstand could dance that well. You have to admit.
That is true, and it was a difference in the music at that time, but also at the same time, and this is to Cornelius's credit. Don Cornelius did not always have musical acts, and this is coming back to the criticism about the dancers. He had the Lockers on there. And do you know who was an early member of the Lockers outside of Fred Berry?
Fred Berry's not the one that played Rerun.
That's who played Rerun.
Okay. Yeah.
Outside of him, do you know who else that was known in music that was an early member of the Lockers?
He was the most famous. I don't remember. He's the one that sticks in my mind because my mother would put him out. It's like, look at him. He's up. He got all that fat, but he can get down. Like,
does the song, "Oh Mickey, you're so fine, you blow my mind"?
Oh,
Mickey.
that's right, Tony.
Tony Basil was one of the founding members of the Lockers.
That's
so
right.
Where I hear things like that about diversity, it's like, no, Soul Train was diverse, but the thing about it is that because of the nature of the show, you did not see them on camera that often, unless they were a part of like a particular dance troupe or group that he brought on,
or they got lucky enough, because my favorite part of Soul Train was when they did the line.
Right.
I love it. Because in the beginning, towards the end, it was only certain people were allowed to do the line, and they kind of owned the camera.
Mm-hmm.
But at the beginning, it was a lot of fun, and I loved it because when they first started it, it was women in one line and guys in the other. And Demita Jo Freeman could just dance her ass off. And she would be laying it down. So the camera would go back to her because she'd be just throwing it down. It's like, yep, that's Demita Jo. And, she was tall, skinny, had a big afro and a great smile. And after Soul Train, she went on, she's choreographed.
Mm-hmm.
She has choreographed a crap ton of stuff. I think she even did Solid Gold for a short time.
No, that's another TV series that some of the youngest don't know back in the 80s. We're getting into the 80s, Solid Gold.
Oh my God. I'm not going to go there because I want it. I want to do this really quick because I wasn't on. I'm sorry. I was sick last week. I'm still a little off the nod, but I'm better than I was. I was sick last week. And so I didn't get to do my reviews, and I binged part 2 of season 2 of Wednesday. It did not disappoint. I totally loved it. The ending caught us off guard. We were not prepared for the ending.
I need for you to put a pin on it because we need to finish up with the Hercules, and then we're going to go into that.
Okay. Oh, I thought we were.
No, we're not done. We just got to a side tangent about all this other stuff because we were talking about technology, Hercules, and then we got into the whole tangent about Dick Clark.
Okay. Dick Clark and the Herculoids. What a combination.
Yeah. I'm glad you know how we got there because I've been trying to figure that out for the last
I was like, it's just like we just got into this one tangent and we just like the tangent just took over. It's like, yeah.
Cliff. Dun.
Now back to the whole thing about family and Dino and why we was comparing it to Dino Boy, and it's interesting because this family has never been defeated. And when it comes to combat, they never truly have been defeated. Some people got the upper hand on them, but never truly been defeated.
Also, the upper hand. Anytime anybody got the upper hand, it never lasted for long.
Mm-hmm.
That was the whole point. They could always, between the two of them, they could always get out, either muscle or braining it through, which is cool if you think about it. you know. But hey, a lot of those I haven't watched since I was very young. So, you know, because I think at the time I was also, what else was I getting into at the time? Well, there was Make a Wish, which was something I really enjoyed. That was one of those after in the space between Bandstand and Soul Train. Make a Wish was a live action show that was kind of, they were doing sort of a funky PBS kind of thing for kids, but with but with great production values.
See, now you made me think of another show that we need to add to the Hanna-Barbera type scenario.
No.
If we're dealing with adventure shows and everything, because technically the show is not an adventure show, but they had adventure shows in it.
Okay, now I'm lost. Which one is that?
Na 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 na.
Oh no! One banana, two banana, three banana.
One banana, two banana, three banana, four. Yeah, banana splits.
Only if we can watch the horror movie too.
I have not seen the horror movie, so I cannot say if we can watch if it's watchable.
Yeah, I have to be able to find it so I can watch it first.
I'm pretty sure you could probably go outside and find it for $1 laying in the street. It's that bad.
No, if I could find it at Family Dollar, it'll be about $5. Hey, I found out I have 2 copies.
The Sour Grapes Game. I don't know why you made me think about that. The Sour Grapes Game, the one of all these TV shows that had an all-girl game that the Banana Splits could not beat. The Sour Grapes Game.
They were good. They could boogaloo, whoop butt, and boogaloo in their little dresses and their go-go boots. They were wonderful.
But the only reason I brought them up because they had all of these live action side vignettes, such as like Treasure Island and all of these other live action things on that show.
They had the Tom Sawyer Huckleberry Finn one got introduced to them, where it was Tom, Huck, and the girl were live, but all Indian Jim and all the other bad guys were animated.
Right, something like that.
Yeah, so there was that. I remember.
No,
that.
it wasn't Treasure Island. It was called Danger Island.
Danger Island. Okay.
Danger Island, because it was weird, because it was like if there was a such thing as B movies during that time, this was like a B movie that was cut up into like 6-minute segments that was always episodic.
Yeah.
And you could tell that they got some of the poorest actors to play some of the villains in this one. It was just like, but
they were so far off Broadway, you could find them on the Jersey Shore.
It was just that bad. And then you had like some of the cartoon vignettes, such as like Gulliver's Travel and stuff like that.
Yeah, but like I said, they had the Huckleberry. It was Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn, and it was Tom, Becky, and Huck were three real kids, and then everything else was animated. So they had to act with these Indian Jim, and them were animated characters. So you had this combination of live action and animation, which I always thought was very strange. I used to wonder what it would be like to go to a world where I was like the only real person and everybody else was animated. It's like, how do you interact? Can you eat
that would kind of scare me after seeing Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
That was so cool.
Yeah, but I mean, it would be cool. It would be cool to hang out with cartoons, but they made it clear in that movie there's only certain things that could harm a tune, but a tune could do just about anything to kill you. It's like, nope. It's like, nope. I can't deal with that. I can't deal with that.
But not every toon wanted to kill you. Just a few crazy ones. Most toons were hardworking, decent folks. You know, you just had a few whack jobs. That's all.
Well, tell me that after you have made somebody like Screwball Squirrel angry at you.
The name says it all. The name says it all. You just have to, you have to deal with that crazy. You don't want to deal with the crazy, don't go mess with the squirrel. It's that simple. You don't want to deal with the crazy. I don't have to put that in the
Well,
script.
I don't even have to. I don't even have to go with Screw. I don't even have to go with Screwball Squirrel. I wouldn't even mess with Aunt Slappy. Even if you try to be nice to it, Aunt Slappy would be like, "No, I ain't having it."
Okay,
I give up. If your name ain't Chip, she ain't having it.
And we still haven't got back to the.
No, again, we get into these side tangents because you make me think about other stuff for our Hanna-Barbera, 2 months here, and just like, oh, we gotta talk this show, that show. There's a lot of shows out there that were adventure based here.
Yeah, Hanna-Barbera was definitely the company to go to for adventure.
Did any of y'all read when DC had the Hanna-Barbera license for a little while in the mid 2000s, and they had their Future Quest series?
I didn't read Future Quest. That was one
they had Future Quest presents the Herculoids.
Oh, wow.
And Space Ghost. And I had all of them because they had the whole lineup. They had Johnny Quest and Mitor and Samson Jr. and all them, and Frankenstein Jr. But it was like its own little, it was his own little interconnected universe for a little while. And it was actually pretty good from what I remember.
I thought Future Quest was the overall branching title that they did that brought them all together in one universe.
I remember right, it started off as that, it's Future Quest, and then they broke it off because all of the, like, Space Ghost and Hercules are all Future Quest presents. So I think it was kind of like their umbrella they were all under. But they were fun. They were kind of fun. I haven't gone back and read them in forever, but I do remember them, and I was excited that there was a Herculoids comic, so that was around when I could just go buy it and didn't have to back issue dive.
See, now you're making me want. Now you're making me want to go and ask this person about. I believe it. I forgot the name of it. If it was like Saturday Superheroes from Gold Key, something like that. That actually had those Herculoids, Space Ghost, Shazam, all of those in a comic book form.
Oh, okay. No, I'm trying to think. In the 2000s, I was busy raising babies, so I didn't have a lot of money for comic books. And then I got my oldest into anime with Akira. I am forever sorry, Charles.
like I said, Akira wasn't that bad. It could have been worse. You could have introduced him with Wicked City.
The Inside Out thing freaked the hell out of him.
Oh, and yeah, that would do it.
Yeah. So, but then I had what was before Akira, we had Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind, when it was first released, was horribly re-edited and called Warrior of the Winds. Warriors of the Winds here. And that was what I had on VHS. So we watched the hell out of that because it was something we could all. My youngest loved it because he liked the big creatures and the fact that she could make them behave themselves and stuff, and they didn't kill her. So he liked that. But we got into that, and then when he got older, Dominion Tank Police. And Robotech, and then he introduced me to Vampire Hunter D. And Battle Beyond the Stars had long since left TV by then, so I couldn't show them that. But you know, there was and
show
then
them what.
Pokemon. I couldn't show them Battle Be what we knew as the what is now Gotcha Man and Voltron.
Voltron,
Was
I can't do nothing for Voltron,
but it was called Battle of the Stars or whatever. Yeah, Robotech, and I knew about
we talk about Gotchaman Battle of the Planets. Sandy Franks presents Battle of the Planets.
That's it.
The horribly edited version of it. But then again, there was even more horribly edited ones because you had G-Force, that was Cartoon Network. And then you had Eagle Riders, which was Saban.
I learned about Robotech because I had a boyfriend at the time where there was like a TTRPG that was sort of a Robotech prototype. And it was the whole battling, you got into the battling robots and stuff.
Oh, the Macross role-playing game.
The Macross that they got in. That's how I learned about Macross and Robotech and all of that, was because I would sit there and watch them play this game. So years later, when Charles was telling me about it, it's like, why do I know this? And then I saw it. It's like, I know that. And I'm explaining it, and it's like, and he's looking at me like, you mean back in the days when you had to run from the dinosaurs to get to the comic book store? It's like, okay, fine, I will shut up. But yeah, so you know, I had to go way back in the way back machine for that.
He is so wrong for that. Have to run from.
Always trying to figure out.
He was a kid, okay? We're talking what, 9, 10 years old? You know, he's thinking mom is old. I wasn't.
Yeah, we're not going to have things that are older than dad skits on this show. Dirt is older than dad. Like, no.
You know, but it was like, you know, in his eyes, I had, you know, the only thing older than me was his grandmother. But she was cool because at that time, they played video games together. She got him a Sega Genesis when he was like, about 7 or 8. And whenever we were living in LA at the time, but she would come and visit for a week or so. And they would spend, when she wasn't taking us to Universal Studios, they would be in his room sitting there playing, you know, was it Lion King? You know? It was really funny. Because I took him to see her on her birthday. When did on his birthday? And she burst into tears because she remembered him sitting and playing the game with her. Because my mother, I got to the point I hated playing games with her. Mm-hmm. You know, she learned how to play chess, but I could always beat her at chess. But she insisted on me playing chess, and it's like, Ma, I beat you every game. You never get any better. After a while, it gets exhausting for me to keep beating you at the game.
It wasn't the fact that you kept beating her. It was just the simple fact that it was a bonding thing. And that's what...
I didn't feel the bond. Whereas her and Charles, on the other hand, bonded like crazy, you know, playing Lion King, because that was their jam, you know, so they played it. But yeah, I spent a lot of time. By that time, I had gotten into. He had gotten into video games, and then John learned that he liked to watch video games more than he liked to play them. So he would watch. Charles would play, and he would watch. And then, of course, we started getting what manga there was coming over. And then he started getting connected with friends who knew about things like Vampire Hunter D and Ninja Scroll and all that stuff, which was great. Especially though there was anime I got into in Japan that never made it here because it was very Japanese. There was a show that was based on old Japanese folk tales, and the animation was closer to old Japanese style artwork as opposed to modern manga or anime style. but they had, and it was all in Japanese, but they had these lovely little stories. They also had one, it was a story about a family, mom, a dad, parents, grandparents, one, two middle schoolers, and then one very young child. Never understood a word, but it was fun to watch. Just to say. And then when I was stationed in Okinawa, what me and the guys used to refer to as samurai soap opera, because they would have these live action shows about, different samurais and stuff, and we would all be sitting there, and we would take parts. So you would have these samurais, and we would be making up dialogue for them, because we were in the military, we were Marines, and we were stupid, And so, but we were interested in Japanese show where nobody spoke English, but they got to fight around with swords all the time.
My girls and I watch Primal. Used to be on Cartoon Network. It was done by the people who did Samurai Jack and
yes,
Powerpuff Girl, with the dinosaur and the caveman.
Oh, stop! It hurt my heart. I couldn't watch it.
Except, see, because they don't talk on there, we provide the dialogue.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not exactly sure what's going on any episode, because we've changed, because the caveman is named Chauncey, and the dinosaur is named Marcia.
Oh, you guys didn't just provide dialogue, you changed their names.
And the first episode, they Chauncey and Marcia ended up becoming friends because the dinosaur that ate his family and then ate the other babies was actually Marcia's old punch, Greg. And Greg didn't want to pay child support anymore, so that's why he ate all the dinosaur babies.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I quit watching it because they had that show that the end of that season where they had to fight the creatures, and she got her leg broken, he got really battered, and I cried. I literally cried, and Charles was like, "You can't watch this show anymore. And John loved it. John and I both loved it because my youngest loves dinosaurs. If dinosaurs came back to Earth, John would be the one going, yay! He would also be smart enough to go, okay, you don't want to mess around with this guy because he knows a lot about dinosaurs. And he could say, you don't want to mess around with him because he will kill and eat you.
Yeah.
And if you see him within this closeness, it's already too late. So he would know enough dinosaurs so he could survive. And he would probably find big dinosaurs and make friends with them.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the last episode, because we haven't finished the show. The last episode, because I do most of the voices, and because of my health, I get tired and I cough a lot, so I have to take breaks from watching it. But I'm pretty sure the last episode we watched, they were out trying to find where Chauncey had lost the last Eclair Pop-Tart at. And they came across this band of evil bakers who were taking men and forcing them to work where they didn't have to pay for Hulu anymore.
Okay. Now, see, what we need to do is we need to record you doing this and then send it to Nickelodeon.
You could, but I'm going to get a cease and desist.
One of my favorite things, and Charles will tell you, he thinks I'm psychotic because I used to love this thing called the Bunnies. I don't know if you ever saw the Bunnies. I forget what the animations.
This is an older version of it, but this is the Gotcha Man collection DVD here.
Okay.
Well, now that I've got both of you here,
okay,
this is something I've always been curious about.
Okay.
It was a popular show over here called Star Blazers.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Battleship
it was
Yamato.
originally called
Yes.
Battleship Yamato.
Yes.
Battleship Yamato.
Yes.
I never knew it as Star Blazers. With the few times I ever saw it on TV down here in Mississippi, it was Battleship Yamamoto. But it was still in
depending
English.
depending on where you were, I think they changed the title, and I think that
Okay.
I think it may have had something to do with distribution.
Well, I think it's distribution in the year that you watched it, because in the
Yeah.
70s it was Star Blazers. It's like Sandy Frank presents Star Blazers because they couldn't
Yeah.
use Battleship Yamato per se as the title. And the
later they were
dubbing was
able.
awful. The dubbing was more awful, and but the thing about it, it had the kind of like the more disco-y type music in it too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got
was
into
curious about
Captain
that.
Harlock in Japan when I was in Okinawa. That's when I first saw Captain Harlock and fell in love and wanted to marry Harlock and be on his ship, but he fell for the blue chickie with no mouth,
Mhm.
which really was disappointing. But but yeah, Trailblazers, Charles and I am happy to say, and there were, I know, other kids whose moms and dads really despised me when Charles was coming up, because we bonded over things like anime.
Mhm.
And if Charles found something and we watched it and I liked it, because I had a rule. Everything they watched, I would watch the first 3 to 4 episodes just to make sure it was something I approved of. Because I'd heard enough from parents who would complain about shows, and I would say, "Did you watch the show?" "Well, no, but." It's like, well, until you sat your ass down and actually watched the show, you don't know what the show's about. Sit down with your kid. Okay, now I got to come to your house and kick your ass and take that.
Or it'd be nice
So
to
if
figure out
Joe
a way
goes,
to dub it and you can have it.
Joe goes missing, come to my house, see if I got some.
No,
Captain
you
Harlock.
mentioning to me, it's like when I used to go to anime conventions, when I used to go to them, I would mention things like this, and the anime kids would be like, "What's that?"
And you'd have to explain. I came upon Captain Harlock, and I have only seen this movie in Japan. It's a feature-length anime. This kid called something Hanna-Barbera Smith. But they brought a lot of those Harlock characters, the old dude with the bird and the hat, Princess Maytel. This kid had set off to find his mother. He was alone in the world, and it was a train that went into space. It looked like an old-fashioned locomotive. In fact, I always wondered if they watched Soul Train. The opening of Soul Train was the, train boogieing its way through the universe. And this kid gets on this train. He meets Maytel, and he's trying to find. All he wants is to find his mother. And in finding his mother, he gets caught up in this big conspiracy thing that involves Maytel, the old guy, and Harlock. And that's how I learned about Harlock. But
Galaxy Express 999.
yes, have not been able to get a good copy of that since I left Okinawa.
There was a local shop down here that was a gaming store and anime store, which is really just an excuse for the creepy owner to get kids to come into the back.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
He was transferring everything over to DVD and to digital. And for $200, he sold me his entire VHS anime collection of 5,000 anime tapes. And Galaxy Express was part of it, along with I don't know, you name it. I probably had all of it. And then there was a flood at my mom's house and they got ruined.
Oh no, that was you. Like I said, I saw the English dub version because we were able to watch it on base in the movie theater on base, and we got the English dub version of it so I could understand it, and it was for the time, but. It was one of those things, the few times where I was able to find it over here in the States, I didn't have money.
Mm-hmm.
And when I had money, I couldn't find it. So it's one of those things, it's like, okay, I just got to wait until I got $500. I ain't got to pay nothing else off with. And I can do a search and see if I can find this dang movie because I want it. And we have like a few collected movies. I have my oldest stick drive. My oldest thumb drive is an old Lexar drive. Old. We have a copy of Pat Liver on there.
That's 90s anime. Yep. where anime started getting good, really, really interesting. Just like this one is interesting, but not a lot of people have seen it. It's called Shoot Fighter Tekken.
Okay, that one I don't know. I got
Elaine, if you have a Plex account,
no
Galaxy
Aniplex. I think Aniplex isn't Aniplex.
No, just Plex, not
Plex.
Aniplex.
Okay, Aniplex was the distributor for a while.
Mm-hmm. If you have Crunchyroll or Plex, it's on there.
Crunchyroll is gone. At least according to Roku. I don't have Roku. Whatever the situation is, Roku and Crunchyroll must have had a falling out because they're like, Crunchyroll doesn't work on Roku anymore. I'm like, but it's Crunchyroll. Doesn't work on Roku anymore. Or at least not your Roku. It's like, oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it's on both of those streaming for free.
I will have to look it up and see if I can find it. If nothing else, I can probably get Crunchyroll on my desktop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this is another one that I would advise Elaine to watch.
Oh, Soul Bianca. I think I've seen that one before.
Yeah,
I've been finding some interesting anime on Prime Video. They have been getting a lot of anime, except for they broke my heart. Well, Hulu broke my heart first. They had not only season 1 but season 2 of Hakuoki, which is a anime that is about the Shinsengumi, which was one of the samurai groups that was patrolling areas of Tokyo during the Edo period. I think it was the Edo period. But it's sort of historic, but it's got mystical elements in it. And a young girl, her dad he's a doctor, and he ends up going away, and something happens, and she goes out to find him because she realized it's been long gone since he should have been home. And he had told her if something ever happens, find the Shinsengumi. And she dresses as a boy because this was a time when women, especially a young girl in her early teens, would not have been traveling through Japan alone, unaccompanied. So she cut her hair and disguised herself as a boy because it wouldn't have been safe for her to be out there traveling through Japan by foot. And she gets to Edo, which is Tokyo, but this is in the Edo period when it was just Edo. which is the royal seat now. But she gets there and she happens upon the Shinsengun, and she explains, about her father and stuff. And when they realize, they take her in, and when they first take her in, they think she's a boy, and then they later find out, oh, it's a she. But by that time, they've kind of all got grown attached, and they decide to sort of keep her safe within their confine, and nobody bothers her. They're like, it's like she's gotten this whole bunch of big brothers, And it was an early harem show aimed at girls, because usually most harem shows are aimed at boys. And this was a harem show aimed at girls. Another harem, there were only a few harem shows that they aimed at girls. One was specifically a favorite of mine because they would draw these really pretty boys, and at the end of each episode, they would feature a boy, and he was like, "Hi, I'm the one you want because I've got whatever skill and stuff. You should choose me." And it's like, oh, I don't think much.
I got one more recommendation, and then we're going to switch gears here to reviews.
Okay.
The last recommendation here, I'm not sorry if you can see it. It's called Airmaster.
Okay, that one I don't know.
I think you might like Airmaster because it's quirky, very quirky. It's pretty much about if I could, one of the things that I don't like too much about anime is like some of the main characters are underage. So this is like a 16-year-old who was a former gymnast. Now her mom was a medalist in gymnastics, but her father was a fighter.
Okay.
And as she was growing up, she was being trained to be an expert gymnast, but she has a fondness for fighting.
Oh,
unfortunately for her, because of a growth spurt, she was not the right body type anymore to do gymnastics, but she uses the gymnastics ability in street fighting.
Ooh.
So it's like her dad owns like a gym, and she just grew up with fighting all this time. She would, go around fighting all these weird fights and everything. But the premise of the story is that she got into so many of these street fights that she got into this underground fighting. Towards the end, she got into this underground fighting circuit. Okay. And she had to fight her way all the way up to fight the number one seed in that fighting circuit. And the Stan is acting weird.
Yeah.
You know what that sounds like, don't you?
What?
I don't know how familiar with old bad 70s and 80s kung fu and karate movies y'all are.
Oh.
But there was a series of movies called Gym Kata.
Oh yeah.
And it was about a gymnast who became a kung fu fighter. And no matter where he was fighting at, there was a pommel horse or uneven bars or something for him to
No, there was not. No, there was nothing like that. They called her Airmaster because she was trained in gymnastics. It's like when she's in the air.
Okay, so
she can control her body in so many different ways to make certain that she can hit her target.
Okay, so she can flip and then aim herself like a missile.
Yep. I mean, but there's people that's in this series that has handed her some pretty nasty blows in some of these fights.
Okay.
And she actually lost a fight against somebody that had perfect defense.
Ooh, okay.
And it was another woman that did it to her.
Okay.
She had perfect defense. So no matter how she was able to get it lined up to hit her square, the other person had a means to defend herself. Like,
oh, okay. I have to see if I can find that.
Now this is only the first 3 volumes. This series is like way over like 25 to like, I want to say it's close to about like 36 to 40 episodes long.
Oh, geez, so gonna kill me. Hello, she who has watched both versions of Full Metal Alchemist,
Yeah.
including Brotherhood, which is like 64 episodes long.
Don't make me pull out Brotherhood because I know that was a long series.
I love me some Brotherhood. I love me some
Brotherhood.
Brotherhood.
I had appreciation for Brotherhood more so than the original series after they went back to the original story. I was like,
Whenever
oh, now it
anybody,
makes sense. Now all of this stuff makes perfectly good
well,
sense.
when people ask me, well, what should I watch? It's like, watch Brotherhood all the way through first. Then go back to FMA because they give you more backstory on certain characters. Like the guy who did that thing to his daughter and they couldn't save her. You get more of his backstory. You get a little bit more of Scar's backstory. You get a little bit more of, Shy Tucker. That's his name. Shy Tucker. And then, and the only thing I didn't like about the original was they changed, not Mustang, his friend, the one that got killed, Maze Hughes.
Yeah, Hughes.
They changed it because in Brotherhood, his little girl she's already like 5 or 6 at the point at which Hughes dies, and in FMA,
she was still a baby.
She was still a baby at the time they meet her. So and I had watched Brotherhood before I watched FMA, so that kind of threw me. And it's like, I like
it was
Brotherhood.
the other way around for me. I watched FMA. It's like, it's like if there's times like why did it come off it went off the hinges, like this doesn't make any sense.
But but FMA was going into weird territory. They were trying to give Ed some, when he has I think their first fight with the homunculi, there was something about their powers crossing, and it's like, and it was like, okay, but that explains a lot. It was like, Hellsing and Hellsing Ultimate, because when you've gone beyond what what the manga has already done, but you still gotta produce a show, and you can't wait for that artist to get done. You can't wait for the mangaka. That's what they call manga creators, mangaka. So you start making stuff up. They did that. They did that with Hellsing Ultimate. They did it with FMA. They had a couple of shows where
Dragon Ball Z,
they had gotten way ahead of the manga, and they had to start, and they started just kind of making stuff up.
that damn planet was blowing up for 30 episodes.
This planet will be destroyed in 5 minutes. 30 plus episodes later, it was still that 5 minutes.
Or Goku spent 12 episodes charging that spirit bomb. It's like, come on. Out of all the anime series I've personally ever watched, Bleach is the worst one with that. Bleach had like 7 filler seasons because they kept getting ahead.
Because they kept getting ahead, and then they were trying to figure out what to do. I think maybe that's why now they're a little more. They try to before they snap up a manga series, they try to make sure they're a little bit more ahead, so that they can, so they've got at least a few seasons in the hopes that by the time they get to where the manga that the scripts that they had already gotten, but that those books are done, that by the time they've got that stuff in the can, the writer will have come up with at least another season's worth of stuff. But that's also because we produce, in Japan, manga's like this. It's like this.
Right.
It's like the size of a small novel. So 100-page manga is not, 100 or 200 pages of manga is not unheard of there. And those people put a lot of effort into it. And each time they sit down and do it, they're putting out 100 or more pages of product. There is a museum in Japan that is just manga. It is the manga museum. It starts from the earliest manga to the later stuff. And you can go, and when you get in, you can sit and read all the manga you want. You just can't take it out the door. So if you go to this section, you have this. They have places where you can sit and be comfortable and stuff, and just read to your heart's content.
If you can read Japanese,
they do have. They do have later issues that they've got English for. But yeah, you do have that. But sometimes, you know, some of those great manga. I guess it was like, you know, what I was telling Griff about what we used to refer to as samurai soap opera. When I was in Okinawa, some of those old soap opera shows that were set around the warring periods of the Edo period in Japan, we would make up our own dialogue because the action was so good and it was so serious about that dialogue. Oh, I get up, dog. Oh, I get up. It's like whatever he's saying, he is really into it. He means it. You know, but
Well,
you just, you know, you sometimes you may not know. You could get even if it's in Japanese, you can at least pick up some of the broad strokes, especially if it's a series that you've already seen the anime for. You know, and I think in some cases, even for the older books, they do have like a translation service.
Okay,
so you know what you're reading.
That's good.
But you know.
Just a quick shout out here for those who are Robotech and Macross fans. I do have Macross 7. And people who may not know what Macross 7 is, there's like this one is Dynamite, the OAV, and then I have the full TV series. What Macross 7 really is, if you follow the history of Macross 7 is dealing with the 7th SDF, or Super Dimensional Fortress. And that is the super dimensional forces that's in control by none other than Max and Miria from the original Macross series. And they come across a new breed of, if I could say, alien Centrati that they have to deal with here. And they don't know how to really deal with them because of the defenses that they had previously. It was hard for them to break through. However, there's like a rogue group of musicians that's a part of that SDF that came up with this sonic weaponry.
Because the Centrati maidens do the Centrati chickies. They have Centrati got
you talking about the Marduk saga?
Yeah,
in Macross 2. In Macross 2.
I'm that old.
No, I know. I'm just giving people history. Don't jump down my throat. I'm not talking about age. We're talking about history. People need to know about Macross 2, just like they need to know about Macross 0 and Macross Plus.
I'm that old because I sneak up and I catch the thugs in the middle of the night and I drink out all that light.
See, you're bringing that up. I'm just up here like, yeah, that's Macross 2. That's history. We need to know that history about the Marduks. There was more work than the Marduks that was out there that they never talked about until Macross 7.
I never remember which series became what we know as Robotech.
That's the original Macross saga.
Yeah.
The original. Okay. All right.
You and Spacey.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the first series that introduced the Bridge Bunnies.
Mm.
Yes. Yes, that
Charles
was the first.
Had to teach me the what Bridge Bunnies were. He would go, "Yeah, them the Bridge Bunnies," and I'm like, "They're not dressed up like they work for Playboy."
No. What do you mean by the Bridge Bunnies? Is because because they outfitted the SDF like it was a battleship.
But it was all the bridge crew
The
was
bridge
also
crew was nothing
primarily
but
women.
women. The bridge
Yes.
crew was nothing but women with in the American version, Captain Glow. I forgot what his name was in the Japanese one.
There was a series that was done, and it was about these women who were all fighters, and they got it was a society that was all women, that these women were fighters of. And I'll have to see if I can find it. But it was interesting because there was a person who was there. I think this person was the executive officer, and it turned out that they were a man. They were fighting this war against men, and he was originally sent to infiltrate because he's very pretty, had long blonde hair, he's gorgeous. But he was sent to infiltrate them and then give their secrets away, and undermine them wherever possible. But as he stayed with this group, he began to see this conflict from their side of it, and took their side. But he had to first go to the captain and, you're going to kill me. Y'all are all going to kill me.
It's almost sounding like you're talking about Macro Zero.
I think it might be Macro Zero, but it was he had to, so long as he dressed the way he had been continued dressing, the women accepted him on the ship. They acknowledged the fact that he was not a woman, but it was like,
Well, there was no ship that the women were on. They were natives to the island where the battleship crash landed at. So it was uncertain that Thor's battleship was actually manned by females or not. That was the thing here.
But it was all women in this whole crew and stuff. But the fact that he as a man had been sent to infiltrate them, and once he did, he realized that I've been on the wrong side of this fight. And then it was interesting because when he comes to, he comes clean about it. For a second you're sitting like, oh my God, they're going to kill him. They're not going to, but they had so many of these women, because they had to learn the ship. They had to learn how to use it and whatnot. And he was like the XO and was guiding and helping to guide them and have been fair and decent with them and everything. And the women were like, do you want to kill us? And he was like, no, I understand. I've seen this from your point, and I'm on your side. And they were like, well, if you're on our side and you haven't done anything to hurt anyone, we're not going to kill you. And we're not going to, we're not going to imprison you or kill you and stuff. A lot of the women on the bridge were like, you're our XO. So you're just not one of the girls.
Yeah,
but
the beginnings of understanding protoculture. That sounds so much like Macro Zero. It sounds so much like Macro Zero at that point.
I remember I love that series because I think he has a conversation at one point with the captain, and he was saying if it had been the other way around, he'd have been, had it been a woman somehow being able to go undercover with a male crew, they'd have slaughtered her.
Mm-hmm.
And that, and she was like, I'm glad to disappoint you. But it was one of those series, just like Iron-Blooded Orphans. It had a lot of great action to it, but it also caught you in the feels.
It also had those slow moments where you were trying to figure out what were they really after in the ship, and when you saw the effects for the protoculture and everything, it just like, what is this mysticism?
it was one of those things, I can't remember what service I had. I think I was, I'm trying to remember what service we had where we were able to watch it on. I never got to see the end of the series,
Okay.
which made me very sad because, you know, and,
No, that's the reason why I was trying to get these. I know somebody that still has Macross Zero on DVD, so I know somebody who has that. I haven't watched it in a long time, but that's what it sounds like. Just like Macross Plus, I remember that like the back of my hand.
I think it is what Hulu, I think I was watching it on what Hulu has now become. Well, no, Hulu has now become Disney. But back in the day, before Fancast, that was it. Comcast used to have a free streaming service online called Fancast, which is how I got to see things like Hakuoki and a couple of other shows. And I got to see episodes of this on Fancast, and then Fancast became Hulu. And after a while, they quit showing you. You quit being able to see things on Fancast, and you had to go to Hulu. And then Hulu decided, oh, now that we've got you, you have to pay us.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And I was really sad because I had quit. I had to shut down my cable subscription because I just didn't. I had to shut down my Comcast cable subscription because I just didn't have the money for it. And Fancast was a way to keep up with different shows without having to pay, you know, this big Comcast. But because I had a Comcast account, they let me switch over to Fancast. They gave me a free Fancast account because I had paid for Comcast for a couple of years, and that's how I got Fancast. And I was catching Sci-Fi Channel shows that way that I couldn't get there anymore. Though I am very proud, I still have my original Sanctuary. Before they got picked up by the Sci-Fi Channel, who started saying, "Oh, you now have to change your theme song, and you have to reshoot this way and that way." When Amanda Tapping and those guys were originally doing Sanctuary, they did it in 15-minute installments on the internet, and I got some of the first episodes. And I thought I had lost them, but I was working on I'm getting videos done that I can start posting to YouTube again. And as I was looking for the music for my YouTube, copyright-free music for my YouTube videos, I found my old Sanctuary episodes. Sanctuary.
All right, we're going to end the show with reviews, so go ahead and go at it.
Okay.
Real quick before
ahead,
Elaine gets started with hers, because we're talking about anime.
Mm-hmm.
I discovered a new anime on Hulu last night that if you haven't seen it, you need to go watch at least the first episode. It's so hilarious.
Spy
It's
X
called
Family.
Go Loser Ranger.
Oh, I got to see that then.
What?
Just the title. Go Loser Ranger. I got to see that.
Okay, in this world, the evil monster army came to Earth in their big floating island and came to attack the planet, and Power Rangers arrived to stop them. And within a year, they had killed all the monsters and destroyed the leaders. And the only thing that were left were the putties, the cannon fodder soldiers.
Okay, yeah.
And the Power Rangers, instead of killing them, came in and subjugated them and have made them for the last 13 years fight them in an arena broadcast on television. And the story is about one of these poor little foot soldier putties who's finally tired of getting his ass kicked. And he is sneaking, infiltrating, and joining the Ranger Academy to learn how to kill these bastards.
Yes.
It is hilarious.
Well, I would suggest in return, if you haven't seen it, Spy X Family.
I haven't started that one yet. I've heard it's good.
your girls will love Spy S Family. That it is, it's. Remember I don't know if you ever saw like Man from Uncle or Secret Eight. It's like a comedic. It's like Get Smart and Man from Uncle together, but it stays closer on the Man from Uncle in regards to smartness.
Okay.
And a spy, it's like it's set in a cold world. It's a Cold War world, alternate time, but it's more like the Cold War, European countries, East and West, spies and stuff. And this one guy who has to find information from this guy, he may have to kill him. In order to get close to him, he has to have a child. He's got to have a child. So he goes and gets this little girl who it turns out is psychic. And because of the little girl, they end up saving a dog that's also a kind of psychic, and she calls him Mr. Doggy. And the girl's name is Anya. And then in order to get the little girl into this school for high class kids that his government's going to pay for, because he's supposed to be a psychiatrist, he has to find a wife, and he has to do it within 48 hours. So within a week, he's got to get a kid and a wife, and it gets wild and crazy, and it's really it's very funny. It's very silly, but then it starts to hit you in the feels because these very disparate. Because he's a master spy, she's a master assassin. Neither of them knows what the other one does, and neither of them knows about the abilities of Anya, little Anya, or Mr. Doggy. And somehow they end up forging bonds to become an actual family. It's really well done because it's very crazy, but it's never too schmaltzy. When it hits you in the fields, it's never really schmaltzy. It doesn't get heavy-handed about it, but it's very funny. The English dub, there are times when they take it from Anya's point of view, and it's cute because Anya, she kind of has this sort of fantasy world. She watches a spy program. She watches a 60 type spy program. It just makes things even more crazy. I think, oh wait, no, don't watch it with your girls.
Okay.
Because I suggested K-pop Demon Hunters, and look what I did to you. I have unmanned you. I am a bad, bad person. Would you like to yell at my dead bird?
No. Hopefully this will get it out of hopefully this will get K-pop out of rotation. So we will see.
Okay.
But
for stuff that you shouldn't let your daughter watch, especially your youngest, because I have a feeling if you let her watch this, you might have to sleep with both eyes open, is Wednesday.
Well, we watched the first season.
Season 2, both sections are out. They are really good. At one point, Enid and Wednesday switch bodies. It's very much a Freaky Friday type situation. But it's good. And if you look up on YouTube, you will find the soundtrack for this season. Killer is just not the word for it. It is really, really good. And the end of season 2, you find out Thing's origin in this series. And what I loved is they took stuff from season 1 and brought it into season 2. And Gwendolyn Christie is back. She's still dead. She's a ghost.
Okay.
She's Wednesday's new spirit guide. You can imagine that. And we get to see Grandmama Frump And Casper Van Diem, poor dude. They're just some people. Nobody should trust Steve Buscemi if they don't if they can avoid it anyway. But it did not disappoint. Um, and the actress who plays Enid and our girl, when they there is a scene you just have to see to believe. Enid in Wednesday's body. And you know how Wednesday likes to dress? Enid doesn't like to dress like that. I will say no more. Just if you can watch it without the girls, so they're not playing a soundtrack at you all. Dun, dun, dun. Sorry, can't help it. That it was really good. I really loved it. The ending caught me so off guard. But it was satisfying. What's also been satisfying is Alien Earth. Because there are just so many people you want to see dead on this show. Just Kid Cavalier, I hope something gets planted inside him, and it comes out his butt. Just and not easily either. Explosively, with much screaming and crying. It's an interest. It's as on episode 5. They go back to the ship that crashed in the Earth, and they explain why it crashed. It wasn't an accident, and it's interesting because one of the things that this show is doing is two things. A, explaining that we don't know what's out there. And when you don't know what's out there and you find what's out there, just because you're able to catch it doesn't mean you should bring it home. And a lot of really smart people keep doing really dumb things, and they keep forgetting that these hybrids at the core are children. And as a result, they're having responses. Even though they're in adult bodies, they are responding as children. And that is always going to make that's going to make some really interesting complications, because they're going to do, children can be sneaky, children can be devious, children, if unchecked, can be downright dangerous. Also, children can end up getting killed, as one poor hybrid boy finds out. But the adult characters, you find yourself wondering which species you want to root for, because the adult characters from Kid Cavalier, the current owner of Weyland-Yutani, and the cyborg and the synthetic and the scientist, you have all these adults and all these different machinations. Everybody wants to have, they either want the power or they want to be close to the power. And this kid, while he's really smart, and he proves he's really smart, he knows about law and stuff, there's also things about him that are really stupid, and at one point he literally tells Yutani what he's done, though he does it in a way that makes it sound like maybe she did it, and he puts the blame on her. And it's like, yeah, I know, I've known kids like that who, they know how to play the system and make it sound like the innocent person is actually guilty one, though in regards to the adults, there are no innocents. There are no innocents in this situation, other than the few poor grunts who are required to serve. Um, but it's about to get ugly. The death count is going. I don't know how they'll have a season 2, because it looks like the death count's going to be what we in TT tabletop role playing games call a TPK, or total player kill. I just it is things, as all these people vie for things, and the one creature, this synthetic who is watching things happen, is just watching things happen. He could put a stop to things, but you get you and as I'm watching this, it's like, okay, now I get why. It wasn't because of Ash. Not just because of Ash. Because when we meet Bishop in the second Alien film, he tells her the programming that he has received. His program includes what we used to refer as Asimov's 3 laws. So he cannot, by action or inaction, allow a human being to be hurt, to be harmed. In this series, which takes place before the Nostromo is on its journey homewards, Gersh, played beautifully by Timothy Oliphant. It's interesting because on the one hand, he can't directly harm his employer, who I guess bought him from Hyperdyne, because we know Ash was a Hyperdyne Systems android, and I think Gersh is also an Hyperdyne Systems android. But he's very dispassionate. So when he sees this kid let this guy, the kid not only lets this guy get a face hugger on him, he sets it up so this guy ends up with a face hugger on him. And Gersh is watching through the monitors, and he doesn't do anything. He sees the guy get attacked. He sees the kid take him away, and he doesn't do anything. He sees another kid that he has already earlier sent into there to feed the specimens, who didn't realize that these flying bug things squirt acid out their butts. It's a molecular acid similar to what the xenomorph does. And even though he's a hybrid, he's still metal based and whatnot. So the acid eats half his face away, destroying the poor thing. It was sad. But it's one of those, even though you have an idea of the way things have to end if it's going to stay within this, the canon of the movie, you still want to sit there and watch it just to see who gets taken out in what order and what fashion. And there are a couple of people I would like to see survive, and there are a couple of people who I so want to just see them suffer and die, and not quick. I mean slow. And everybody loves Eileen. Joe, you have to watch it just so I will watch it. You can come over here. I'll make popcorn. I will watch it with you to introduce you to Eileen. Because once you see Eileen, your heart will be good. She will own your heart. She might also own your eyeball and your brain, but she'll definitely own your heart. So yes, Wednesday, a definite watch. I give it 10. Dead Birds. Alien Earth, definitely turning out better than I expected. I give it 8. I can't hold the bird and my fingers up. So 8.
Is Alien Earth done, or are there more coming out?
It's not like Wednesday where they let out so many shows that you could binge, and then they let out another group of shows you can binge them. Alien Earth, Fox is only letting it out one episode a week.
Okay, so there's still more episodes to come.
They're only on 6. Next week is 7.
Mm-hmm.
But
okay.
I would suggest, if you are easily creeped out, watch it during the day with the lights on.
Now I live in the house with these people. I'm not creeped out, so it'll be okay.
Yeah, but you don't want these people watching it. They may get ideas.
That's the problem.
After what he told me, sorry. There's half of me that feels really bad because I was trying to do a good thing, and then the other half of me that is just
she was like, I was doing something to de-escalate things. Now I feel like I got more militant than ever.
I thought they would watch it and get the feels, and you could sit there as a family and you would love the tiger and giggle at the bird and how the bird stole the tiger's hat and really get into it. I'm so sorry. I really was trying to do a good thing.
Like I said, the first 37 times it was pretty good. But Joe,
yeah,
I found another show to add to our endless list of Hanna-Barbera shows.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
The Pirates of Dark Water.
Oh, the one that we never got to see the final episode on air. Mm-hmm. They never aired the final episode.
Yep.
Yes, I am very familiar with Pirates of Dark Water. That's another good series.
Yes. I didn't realize it was Hanna-Barbera until I looked at my DVD collection today and saw it. I was like, oh, excellent. So
see, now it makes me wonder, should we also add SWAT Cats?
Never saw that one.
SWAT Cats, the Radical Squadron.
Never saw it. John discovered Scooby-Doo at 6 or 7, and I have had to sit through so many different permutations of Scooby-Doo live action and animated. Okay. As well as all the Power Rangers. I have been a Power Ranger mom. I've been a friggin' Pokey mom. You know, I have sat through so many Pokey battles. It ain't funny. But between the Power Rangers, Scooby-Doo, while you guys were still discovering Hanna-Barbera, I was, going through Power Rangers, Pokemon, and Scooby-Doo. Once John discovered Pokemon, Power Rangers, and Scooby-Doo, my world ended.
See, you didn't have it as bad as you think. Because if you was going through Pokemon, you had it easy. I took the route of Yu-Gi-Oh. Oh,
we did that too. My oldest, and then he taught
John. Have you watched season 0?
We have 3. They each have something like 300 cards.
No. I'm talking about the television series. Have you watched what they call season 0 of Yu-Gi-Oh?
Season 0 is messed up.
Charles
what we got in the States is nothing compared to what they got in Japan for their first season of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah,
Yu-Gi-Oh is dark as hell.
Oh, yeah. Charles was explaining it to me. He had a friend who got hold of the manga, and they read the manga, and Charles was explaining. It's like, if this ever comes on TV, I shall set this house afire before you can watch that, because your younger brother. I have seen so many permutations of Yu-Gi-Oh up to DDDs.
5Ds.
The 5, yeah, I call it DDDs because for a while, Fox Kids, that's how they were doing it on the commercial.
Well, yeah, which was stupid here. So I haven't got to Arc V. I have not watched Arc V as of yet. So I hated the whole idea of pendulum summoning, and then Arc V did something else. But 5Ds was, animated wise, was as far as I could tolerate, as far as still understanding the game and everything to that magnitude. But whatever
I
you do not show them season 0. See,
Well,
we have not seen it, but like I said, Charles had friends. Some of them had the manga, I guess, because they were telling me stuff, and it's like, where are you getting this so that you read it? And they were going, we don't know. It's like, oh, you know about it, but you don't know where you're getting it. And it was one of those things like, oh God, if we admit to her who we're getting it from, she'll kill their mom. And so it was kind of like, they
because
didn't want to tell me.
because the shadow games that we got in the American version is nothing compared to Yu-Gi-Oh! No Game in season 0.
mm-hmm.
People got really messed up.
Yeah, I
really messed up.
Well, you know,
and one person actually, I think, did the one person actually get murdered in the restaurant here?
I think someone did die.
I'm pretty sure. I remember the dude who got his arms cut off. The one that always sticks out in my head.
I'll talk about the one that literally burnt himself to death in the cafe in the restaurant playing the candle game. It's like hand over the candle, you have to go lower until either you squashed out the flame, because it was something that they had on their hands that if the flame actually touched it long enough, you would ignite.
No, I don't. No, that would give John nightmares. So that's not something.
No, the first Yu-Gi-Oh! No Game would probably give him nightmares because of the thing about the off the side of the cliff, and they was drawing cards, and it's like whatever was on the regular playing card determines how far up you go and how far up your opponent drops. And it was kind of like a pendulum thing, and the first person to get all the way back up to the top of the summit wins, and the other person drops.
Well, like I said, no.
And that's not even talking about the old girl from Egypt that tested Yami Yugi.
Yeah, the Pharaoh.
Yeah, I made it all the way through to Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal. It was the last of the series I watched.
Okay.
Zexal was okay.
And that main character, Yuma, was the worst duelist of all of them put together.
Is that the one with they're in the academies or something?
No, that's GX. That's GX.
Okay.
This is
the
the one where
last
they
one I
introduced
remember is the one with the academy, and I thought that kid was.
That was the cell summon.
And I remember looking at that kid going, "Is he the special ed version of this academy? Because he's just not that smart."
The Yuma was he drove me crazy. He couldn't do it. It's another one where my girls and I started making up our own stories about the show, and because you had the trash can that would duel, and the refrigerator. It was like everything on their world you had to duel to do. And Yuma sucks so bad he hadn't been to the bathroom in like 6 months.
Oh, that episode! Oh
so
my
god! We made up our own stories.
Yeah. Okay. I don't. Yeah.
And he had to fight people that were like 10 times better at him. And if it wasn't for what's his name, the dual spirit that was with him, he would have never got through that series.
No, he was so bad.
No, like I said, John knows those series better than I do. It's like the Pokemon. Once they got into Pokemon, every time they changed season, I would watch a couple of episodes just to make sure it wasn't, dangerous for him to watch.
I'm happy I never invested in the cards, but I used to play the cell phone version of Yu-Gi-Oh!
No,
and I built a very competitive deck that would take down a lot of good people here, but I even got it for my PlayStation 4. That's how I got really got into it. But that's like, I know I could not afford paying for all the collectible cards and all this other nonsense.
I've gotten really into watching people play Yu-Gi-Oh!
He's got cards in a full-size binder. They used to make the custom Yu-Gi-Oh! Books. I got John one of the custom, either Charles or I got it for John, and John's cards are in that. And then I think he's got other cards in the box. He's got a whole I think he's got a couple of binders, big size binders full of cards. And after he doesn't play, I think occasionally he'll collect a card, but right now I think he's more. And then he went into Magic the Gathering. John
Oh,
just
good night. Good night.
he,
That's money. That's real big money.
yes, which is why he's not playing it anymore. I think he plays it digitally because it's cheaper to play it digitally. But you know, but he plays the game that I like to. I don't know if you ever remember the Sim City games, the early Sim City games. There used to be in the early versions of Sim City. You would get so far in your city, and then a kaiju would come up out of the water and attack you, and it would go wee, wee, and attack your city. And I love the song, the noise, because it just goes wee. And so he plays Monster Hunter with his friends.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's playing Monster Hunter, I protest on the side of the monsters. So I will go into his room and very loudly just go, and his friends can hear me, and it drives him crazy. I do it until he has to physically get up, because Charles is what, 5'10"? John is 6 feet solid. Charles is like 5'10", and he has to get up and kind of grab me by the shoulders and force me out of his room, because I'm like, and it's like, why is she doing that? I am protesting on the side of the poor monsters.
Yeah, it's like they want to live. They want to live too.
Yeah, the monsters aren't showing up in your city. You going to where the monsters are living, and you're attacking the monsters. So you know, his Japanese friends love me.
You know, Joe, I'll watch people play Yu-Gi-Oh, the card game, and the video game online a lot. And I don't know, and my favorite story about all of that is last year when they had the Yu-Gi-Oh World Championships. Did y'all hear what happened?
No. I don't remember what happened last year.
Well, you know, there's three main versions of the game. There's the actual card game.
Right.
There's Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel, which is like the big new video game.
Right.
And then Yu-Gi-Oh Duel Links, which is the lesser known video game.
Well, Duel Links is the cell phone.
Yeah. Yeah. And something about they changed one of the rules for Duel Link before the World Championship, and people were real upset about it. And apparently, someone in Turkey hacked Konami's live feed of the World Championships while it was on YouTube and Twitch, and held it hostage for 7 hours until they were changed. And he said all he wanted the rules changed in 10 American dollars. And Konami had to show like drone footage of the city of Seattle because they couldn't show the feed. It was being hijacked.
I'm trying to think what rule he was talking about.
I don't know, but Konami would not listen to them. So a group on Reddit got together and they were like hostage negotiators, and they talked this guy down to get the feedback up.
Did they give him the $10 at least?
Yes.
Okay.
The people on Reddit got together and PayPal'd him $10. But yeah, he held this multi-million-dollar company's feed hostage.
I'm sorry that tickles me.
I wish I would have paid more attention to it, because, like I said, I fell out of the game here because a lot of people are now doing I forgot what it is. It's a new type of summoning type deal. It's like my old classic deck, because I play an Amazon's deck, so I play with Amazons.
I'll be
and
right
I have
back.
a very, very powerful Amazon deck that I play with. Some of these newer decks can blow it out of the water real quick, so I just don't play it as often. And it's kind of like a back and forth. It's like I know if they get the right cards, they could pretty much end me in one turn. If I get the right cards in hand, I can end them in one turn. But it's more along the lines of like, well, who gets whatever cards first, and whoever gets the upper hand first. Because if I get certain characters out, it's like, okay, fine. You can attack me, but you can't destroy any of my monsters.
Mm.
You can't destroy anything on my side because I have
You'll
this.
appreciate. I was watching this one guy I like watching stream because he plays with Black Wings. I like
Yeah.
always watch that deck.
Yeah.
And
Mommy wouldn't give it to her.
there's a card that's an OCG exclusive that's in the video game called Max C.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the Blackwing player is playing and he's comboing off, and the other guy's throwing down Max C. And, every time you summon a monster, you get to draw a card with Max C.
Mhm.
And the Blackwing player's just going through because he's been streaming all day and he hasn't been able to win a game because his deck can't keep up, right?
Mhm.
But he's playing and the guy's drawing all the cards for Max C. And he's like, I'm finally gonna win this game because the guy's almost out of cards, right? He's almost decked out. The dude drew all 5 pieces of Exodia.
One time to find out that the other dude had an Exodia deck, and it'd be like, I'm about to win, I'm about to win, I'm about to win. Oh,
Yeah.
guess what? I got my 5th piece. Boom, 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 boom.
Exodia,
the Forbidden One has now been formed. Game over.
I was about to say, once
Dude
you
turned
have
screen off
Exodia,
and
that's
left.
it. Oh my God. The guy just, he just walked away.
He left because he thought he was fixing to win because it's like they haven't thrown down any hand traps or anything. He's like, so I've won, and then dude drew the last piece of Exodia and it was like dun dun dun.
That was straight out of a cartoon. Where
The only thing, the only other thing
they
that
were
could be
5 seconds away from being flattened tonally, and suddenly, Tony would pull that card, or Yu-Gi-Oh would pull out.
Mhm.
My favorite Yu-Gi monster is Blue-Eyed White Dragon.
Mhm.
I don't know why, but I just really love.
It's probably because of the history of it.
Yeah.
I love me some Blue Eyes White Dragon. I thought he was the best thing. Exodia
She.
was
Blue Eyes White Dragon is a she.
Oh, sorry. Exodia just I don't know why I didn't feel Exodia as much. To me it was, and then they got up and said Blue Eyes White Dragon was no longer the animated. They kind of nullified Blue Eyes White Dragon, which really ticked me off, and I kind of quit watching it for a while out of protest.
No, it actually evolved.
Mhm.
Is that what happened?
It actually evolved because there's a such thing as Blue Eyes Ultimate White Dragon now.
Mhm.
But I think in the card game, I think one of the card games or something, they discontinued something. I got ticked and said, okay, fine.
It's one of the versions of Blue Eyes White Dragon that got discontinued.
Yeah, and I got
Blue Eyes is still there, but if one of the versions of it is gone.
Yeah, even in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, it's one of the it's usually in like the top 5 decks at tournaments now.
Oh, good. Okay, that's good to know. Just like I said, Blue Eyes White Dragon was always cool.
Only other humiliating defeat that could happen for something like that is it's like you're up against somebody and you try to deck them out and they played Destiny board.
Mm-hmm.
And you're up there like, okay, game's over. They're about to pull their last card. And on their last card, they are able to spell final to end the game.
Yep.
Because that ends it right there. It's like, damn it. That's the only other way, because it's like, oh yes, they about to pull their last card. They can't go another turn. Oh, wait a second. They have Destiny board out there. They got the last open spot on their trap side of the board. Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm. You're undone me.
Yeah. You're out, because it's like, it is what it is. But I play Yu-Gi-Oh at least enough to understand the basics before you get into all the link summoning and pendulum summoning and all this other weird crap that was way beyond what my generation can handle.
John,
give me good old-fashioned Yu-Gi-Oh rules. I'll be able to beat you.
John, I don't know. John's pretty. I mean, John may be autistic, but he's really good at Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh is one of those things that's really good. And it's interesting because he's not that. If he plays it all, he'll play with Charles.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say, at $35, the Carmen San Diego game is a treasure because they've updated twice now.
Oh, okay.
And Because at first they said they put it out, it's $35, and it's like, here's the game, this is it, be happy, bye. And then they did an update to it, and it was like, and John was like, okay, because he beat the game in a week. And then they put the update, and he beat the update in a couple of days. And then there was quiet, and then they were like, we got another update. Like, I'm expecting in another couple of months he's going to tell me they've updated again, you know. But he gets Charles's, you know, he gets Charles to give him his Switch, and now that Charles has the VR thingy, he's happy. He gives up the Switch more easily, and we had an extra cradle, so it's now permanently in the living room. So John knows how to put the Switch in the cradle and do his thing.
They play his game. Cool.
He plays that. And how old is your youngest again?
8.
Okay. National Geographic Kids has a game called Animal Jam. It's online. It's $7 a month. There is a free version, but you get it like every Thursday. You get for subscribers, they give you like all these extra things, and you get to save all your stuff. Charles has a tiger. His tiger has a lizard, and he's got a lizard, a bunny. His tiger has, and his tiger has a tricked out crib, big TV on the wall, sofa, fireplace. It's like he's one enough where he has tricked out this tiger's crib intensely. But the way you set it up, you as the parent set control. So you determine whether or not she can, because it's primarily children. It's set up primarily for children. But if you don't want her talking, because she can talk to other players, but you can set it. You can set the language that she uses. You can also set that she doesn't talk to other children. She just goes on the site to play. John goes every Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Is his game day for it. A friend of ours gifted it to him years and years ago, and they've allowed us to keep up. And it's like $7 a month. I would say go, if you decide to do it, go directly to the site and set up, and then port over to Steam for it. But if you pay through Steam instead of $7 a month, it's closer to 10. So go to the National Geographic Kids site, and it's Animal Jam, and you can find it easy via National Geographic Kids.
Right. My oldest has a Steam Deck. She can.
Yeah, she
teach
can
me how
put
to
it
do
on
all
it.
that.
She can put it on Steam, and then you can. And what'll happen is you'll get a you get this little thingy for your desktop, and then she can click it, and it'll take it into the game, and she can either chat in the game or not if she just wants to play and stuff. And they have this is one of those games where they have adults because my friend who gifted John, his membership was part of that group. They have adults who were there to monitor this. They monitor this site 24/7 just to make sure that there aren't people talking to children in ways they shouldn't be talking to children. But it's a double system. So a child cannot set up an account and do it. The adult pays for it. And if they suspect a problem, they get in touch with you. Whether it's, hey, you didn't pay this month, or and if for some reason the payment doesn't go through on the day it's supposed to go through, they'll send you an email. Hey, we they're in the free version until you can pay again, and then once you pay, you get all their stuff that they're saved, and they get back to it. But if they suspect activity, they will let you know, and that's one of the reasons why they have a child's account to play, but an adult account. And they do ask that parents oversee, check in, see what your kid's doing. Are they talking to people? Are they just playing the game? John plays once a week. He plays on my computer. He comes, he gets all the free stuff. He does things with his tiger. He plays a game or two, and then he's done until the following Thursday.
Okay.
You know, so he's very specific about how he does the game. But yeah, it is. They do, in fact. The reason my friend no longer works for them is one of her coworkers was they didn't gift memberships. They were selling memberships privately for more than the memberships were and not giving National Geographic kids their portion of it. And they found out about it and they fired the whole, instead of just firing that one person, they fired the whole team, which I thought was a bit heavy-handed. Wow. Yeah, I thought it was a little bit heavy-handed. But I get it. Parents had complained about this one person. And one of the things they tell you is their primary concern is the safety of kids on this side. So they take that very seriously. But they're really fun educational games. And like I said, the kid picks their animal avatar, whatever, and as they earn more in the game, they can get a house and customize clothes, and they can buy gifts for it and everything, and they can talk to their tiger or whatever they pick. So, I get John every once in a while to make his tiger dance for me because I'm that hyper crazy. But it's 9:22. I have not had dinner. And I'm sure your girls are ready for the 40th viewing.
No, don't torture the guy. Stop it.
Do you still love me, Cliff?
Yes, ma'am.
Stop torturing him.
I'll find a way to make it up to you.
I know you're good at it, but don't do it.
I'll find a way. I will find a way to make this up to you. Okay.
Well, the only good thing about it is they have the one song on there that they sing towards the end, where they talk about this is what it sounds like.
Yes.
It got When the Doves Cry by Prince stuck in my head for about a week. So that was a plus.
Dun, 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 dun. See, now you got me thinking about the song.
This is what it
so
sounds
that was a plus about it.
But it's if you haven't seen it, Joe, I think I have seen a lot of adults who have watched it and weren't expecting to like it, and then went, "Dang, I wasn't who weren't expecting much of it, and then were pleasantly surprised. The songs are catchy. They're the girls who sing the three characters are from a K-pop group called Twice. There was some suggestion that the Demon Boys, at least one or two of them, were from BTS. But then BTS was like, no, that's not us. But you can see that they based certain characters in that boy group on BTS. But it's good. You got to admit it's good. And the songs are catchy. But
Besides, I will be able to do my review of Strange New Worlds, hopefully, after seeing the first 2 seasons. Hopefully by next week. There's a lot of things that I have to say here because now I have to go back and rewatch like the original series to relive some things here, because one of the things that's still sticking in my mind that doesn't sit right with me with this series is that my memory of the original series was that Khan did not actually fight anybody in the Federation. That the Federation didn't have to deal with Khan directly. They were found and revived on this planet, and the Enterprise happened to be there.
Yeah.
In Strange New Worlds, they saying that the Federation knew about them, they fought them.
Khan is,
and one of the characters being that she is one of the ancestors of D Khan.
No.
Had to deal with some other things. I was like, yeah, that's revisionist history.
Yeah, because Khan Noonien sinned, and his group rose to power before the founding of the Federation.
Mm-hmm.
And what had happened was they had risen to power. They were frozen. And then once they had star drives, what not warp drive, but they had star drives. They kind of put them in the ship and said, we can't have them on Earth, but it would be. They had gotten to the point where we can't execute them because they're humans.
Well, they're
metahumans,
modified humans.
but they were.
That's the thing.
But the
That's
Earth
one of the things
government.
that Strange New Worlds kept reiterating. They hate modified anatomy.
No, they were modified, but when they were overthrown, the government that formed up following their rule, and its citizenry determined that because they weren't this way out of choice, they had been made this way. That the whole point about Khan and his group was people had been messing around with biology and had given them all these enhancements and thought we can control them. And in the end, they then said, well, no, you're not going to control us because we're superior. We're going to control you. And it took the entire unified Earth to overthrow them. And I think there was disagreement or something about should they be put to death for their crimes. And I think more sympathetic hearts ruled out, but they also couldn't keep them. They didn't want to kill them, but they also couldn't keep them on the planet because of the danger they possessed. So it was like, well, you know what? We'll put them in cryo sleep and we'll just send them out into space and it can be some other, they'll wake up somewhere.
Well,
that's somebody else's problem.
That's where Strange New Worlds kind of got it wrong. And that's what I'm saying. It's like there were some that was sent to space and there's others that got rehabilitated.
No.
The security officer that's on Strange New Worlds is a direct descendant of Khan. It's a direct descendant. It was up there like, do we really want her on here?
Well, Khan does speak in that episode. He does speak that his wife had been killed.
Mm-hmm.
Because when he first explains how they came to be in the ship when they're found by the Enterprise, he makes it sound at first that they had been attacked and were victimized and were sent out here to, this was some undeserved punishment. But his wife, there had been a battle, a conflict, and his wife had died.
Mm-hmm.
And then he chooses the woman from the Enterprise, and she agrees to go with him. But they did not have what we understand as the Federation did not exist at that time, because the Federation in and of itself does not form until the Vulcans come to Earth, and then the Vulcans start bringing humans out into the galaxy, or at least they're in the Alpha Quadrant, and they're introducing them to other races. And it's like, we need to form some sort of alliance, because we could, there's a lot out there that could kill the crap out of us if we don't play our cards right. So it would be better if we had cooperation rather than aggression, because it's like, okay, there are things you could teach us, but maybe there are things we can teach you.
See, that's the thing that makes me kind of cringe about Strange New Worlds, because they rewriting a lot of stuff from Enterprise dealing with Captain Archer's crew, and they rewriting a lot of stuff from the original series.
There's a lot of stuff about Christopher Pike and Number One and stuff that they've rewritten. While they've taken some things from pre-Enterprise history,
Mhm.
they are not sticking that close to source material.
By no means.
And in many ways, because I've heard other reactors and stuff. I have not bothered with it, but I've heard other people get up and give the this is so not my Star Trek, and I've heard people who not wanting to crap on the show because they don't want to crap on anything Star Trek will simply say it's not my Star Trek and let it go with that. Others have come out and said it is not canon. It in many ways it's a waste of time. It flies in the face of what is already established, and it's very disrespectful in regards to what came before. Like I said, I've heard different
I wouldn't say
ends of that spectrum. Some people really, really hate the series. I quit following Star Trek after Below Decks. My friend DC Chen said, "Oh, you should watch Below Decks," and it's like, okay. And I watched a couple of episodes, and it's like, she is. I just didn't like her character. It was like they took the worst aspects of Kirk and put it in a black chick. It's like, thank you. But
that's why I wanted to give a review after I finished watching season 2.
Okay.
If people who follow my Facebook, my shock to see Samuel Kirk on the Enterprise,
which he's never
started my curiosity. We got to see James in this series, and when we finally first see James, the first two things that came to my mind is, one, why in the world did they get somebody that looks too much like Jim Carrey to play Kirk?
Oh my God! Okay, now I don't want to watch it. No, I started.
And the second thing was, for Kirk to be a fellow captain, how come Pike does not know too much about him?
Also,
he had to go to Samuel to be like, "What's the deal with your brother?" I was like, "You're supposed to be best friends. You're supposed to be best friends with their dad. How in the world are you going to Samuel asking, what's going on with James? I haven't heard too much about him." It's like, can we be all on the same page? It's like, what is this? Like, what is this?
James,
now, I'm not going to ruin the episodes that they had James Kirk in, because it was supposed to serve to a point here, but the whole premise of the series is convoluted because of the simple fact of how they're treating the menagerie.
Yeah. Also, I've heard a lot of people when people say it's not my Star Trek, that's one of the things they mention is the menagerie and the importance of number one in that series. But also because people forget Majel Barrett, before she was the nurse, she was number one. They were sisters. And I think I still have the book. I will look and see if I still have it. Star Trek used to put out these they weren't magazines, but they were about the size of like this.
Yeah. Yes.
And they were they would feature articles, and then people could send questions, and somebody
like Starlog. You're talking about like things like Starlog and stuff like that.
This was like a precursor to Starlog.
Okay.
But they would print them out in book size like that, pocket book size, like my Captain Clutch.
Now I have to ask this question here, because since you mentioned number one, and you have to refresh my memory.
Okay.
I remember number one being human.
Okay. It is Christine and number one are sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And they are human for the most part. I think they are supposed to be either twins or clones. Something along those lines. Like I said, I gotta see if I can find it because they had someone had written in
So
asking
they,
that
they so they
question.
so now we got another headache because they even messed that up here.
Yeah,
Because they made number one an alien.
and that's not no. She in
She
fact
was never an alien. She was never an alien.
she was more, and it was interesting because the reason the person had written in because they said, okay, we get Major Barrett played both these characters, but Christine is so emotional, and anybody who's ever seen the Menagerie redone as the Man Trap knows that number one might as well have been Vulcan because she is very logical. She is very to the point. When things were getting to where they were, I forgot what happened. Aliens were like, "Well, you have to stay here," and she pulled out her phaser and set it on overload. And they were like, "What are you doing?" She goes, "Well, you want to fuck around. I'm gonna show you how to find out." Not those words, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. But that part of number one is still there, but she was never an alien. She was
they were two they were sisters, but they were very distinct characters, as if they were different parts of the same whole. They made the whole together. Christine was more emotional. Number one was more exceptionally. She wasn't emotionless, but she got to her
had
decision
empathy
by logic and intellect. That's how number
she's
one.
highly. They got that part right, but she's
That's
very
why she
empathetic.
That's why she was first officer at the time, as opposed to Spock. She out-Spocked Spock. And she's also brunette.
They kept that. They kept that too.
She was
they kept
brunette,
that too, but
and she was the first female character that we got to see in, because her away uniform was slacks. So instead of the skirts that that the other females had worn in that episode, because that was the first episode they shot, she was in slacks. And so she was dressed pretty much like the guys were. But she was first officer, not Spock. Spock was a
science officer. He was a science officer.
But I think he was a rank or two below her at the time.
Right.
And
she's actually a commander. She number one is still a commander. So Spock was still,
I think he was lieutenant commander at that time.
Yeah, he was a lieutenant commander at that time. And one of the things that I do like about Strange New Worlds is that there's a lot of female bridge crew members. There's a lot more females that had rank.
But the thing is, at the time, because understand, and it was interesting because Lucy, people forget, if Lucille Ball had not been head of Desilu, there would be no Star Trek. There would be no Mission Impossible. There were at least 15 shows, only half of which were comedies, that Lucy herself greenlit. And when Paramount turned down the original pilot, which the Menagerie was, Lucy got up and she had this talk with Roddenberry, and it was like, how badly do you want to do this? And he was like, really, really bad. She's like, okay. So she wrote the check and they got to shoot. Then they got to they wrote another pilot and shot it. And I think Lucy was kind of like, yeah, but you know what? That first pilot was good. The guys at Paramount just didn't have the vision. And
they say it's too cerebral for their audience.
And the thing is in Lucy's case, and people don't realize, she is the mother of modern science fiction on TV, because Lucy, when Desi were putting their show, the first I Love Lucy out, everybody was like, nobody's going to buy this. She and Desi had to do a traveling show cross country in which they introduced songs like, was it Cuban Pete and other things. They had to do this traveling show to make the studio bosses understand that people were more than happy to pay to see them live. So they would be, if they were willing to pay to see them do this live, then yeah, they'll come watch it every week. So she understood what that was. And
I thought there was also one other thing on top of that. Desi figured out a way to have it broadcast across the country all at the same time with a particular taping system.
Well, Desi was the one who introduced the multi-camera shooting stuff. Desi was the one who Desi was the innovator. And it was Desi that developed the multi-camera shooting style that we now see for TV sitcoms. Desi was the one who innovated that. No one else had done it at that time. At that point, you had one camera that was just fixed. And everybody had to work to that camera. And Desi was like, yeah, but that locks you. We need to expand this, give it flow, rhythm. And it's easier to do that if you have more than one camera. So it's Desi was the innovator. Lucy knew the business. And by the time Star Trek and that stuff was coming out, Lucy had already bought Desi out.
Yeah, that during the whole divorce and everything, she had full control. Yep. But
she was the one when other shows were looking for homes. It was known, if you got a good enough idea and you can get Lucy to see it, she will get you on TV. And she did. It was Lucy, because understand, Dick Van Dyke was a Lucy Ball show. It was not the Dick Van Dyke show at first.
It had a different name. Hey guys.
Carl Reiner. Oh yeah, it's getting late. We can talk about this.
I had to break up the party, but I'm going to go bother my wife.
All right. Stay out of fights.
Okay.
Remember, there's still a 10-point must rule, and there's a standing 8 count.
Okay. All right. You want to let you close out first, so hey.
Yes.
You want to go first?
And make sure that the kids know that the smelling salt is in the cabinet.
He said that.
Well, no, I said that before. It's all good, because you never know. It's like, you want to bribe a kid to make sure that they revive you.
In full transparency, the wife is a kickboxer.
Yeah, that's why I said make sure you make sure that you tell one of the kids where the smelling salt is, just in case they have to revive you.
She has knocked my teeth out before. So when I say I'm going to go bother her, I mean I'm just going to go harass her at a safe distance.
You do? In a stupid Russian accent, just go, come to my place, bouncy. It'll make her laugh. She'll drop her guard, and you can get a kiss on her nose.
No, I'm probably going to catch a knee to the face and have a short night, but...
Okay.
Like I said, the smelling salt is in the cabinet. Make sure that your youngest child knows where to get it. Rub it up against your nose and be like, yeah, I should have did that joke for Elaine.
It worked for me, but maybe I got a different appeal. So why don't you let you close out first, and then I'll go after. Joe?
Okay. Oh, we are closing out. I don't know if you're about to say.
All right. Thank you, guys. Join us next week for more about Hanna-Barbera cartoons and American Bandstand. If you're really bored, I'm still down here in Mississippi. Come join the never-ending K-pop Demon Hunter Marathon, and thank you. Come again.
And here is Elaine.
I'm the evil bitch that's stuck in with the never-ending K-pop. Demon Hunter marathon. I'm sorry, I'm an evil old woman. I should be, I should probably be, well, come tickle me with a feather and I'll talk to you. Anyway, thank you for coming. We love you guys. You want to find me? lenscaponline.com. I am currently working on some videos, so I will be updating them on my YouTube here, Elaine Haygood. I will be also updating them to lenscaponline.com and my Facebook pages, LensCap Productions, LLC, and The Coming of Nighttime, and of course, Elaine Haygood. Come look me up. Tell me, you saw me. Give us a like, subscribe, send me funny messages because I love a good giggle. Y'all take care. Love you all. Bye.
And as always, our show is brought to you by our sponsor, Jeffrey Hayes and Plasma Fire Graphics. Why? Because if you want an award-winning artist who has brought people to the table just by the sheer covers that he did, you wanted him on your side. So if you don't believe me, take a gander at this.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasma Fire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
You've seen the graphics, you've seen the covers. Now give Jeffrey Hayes a message here at plasmafiregraphics.com or his Facebook group for Plasma Fire Graphics. As far as I'm concerned, I'll be here Saturday for another episode of From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher. What we're going to talk about, have no clue at this point here, but it will be interesting. It will be fun. And the chat will be run by you, the audience who watch here. We'll talk about anything and everything up under the sun here. And you have a voice more so than anything else. So until then, live life, grow, and be well. And unlike our founder here for Comic Book Spectrum, Brian K. Morris, I don't care if you wash your hands, but never, and I do mean never, apologize for being awesome. Thank you for watching, and we're out of here for another week. See you again right here on Comic Book Spectrum.